Now you guys have an idea of how to render payment if you're on a shoestring budget. Free 99. PayPal takes their money from you getting money, so you have to get some money for it to cost you any money. You've learned how to communicate with your clients and track them for free. You've learned how to send their workouts for free. And you've learned how to structure your overall online business using Online Trainer Academy methodology without needing a dime to produce any of it. We've taken away all your excuses out there. You have no excuse at this point.
This is the Online Trainer Show, Trainer Show, Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show.
We shouldn't have a podcast. So, we got things to talk about. But Keto, how's your squirrel thing going? That sounded weird. Keto, how's the situation with the squirrel in your home going? That's how rumors get started.
You know what is really funny? We're finding that squirrels, it's like they have an alarm clock, because every single morning at 20 after 7 a.m., even on Sundays, when we could be sleeping in, the damn squirrel starts scratching and walking. It's like time to go out and hustle for the nuts, right? So 7:20 every morning, in case you were wondering, that is like prime time squirrel hustle time.
That's the quote card, Caro. 7:20 for the hustle for the nuts.
That's our quote card for the episode. Keto, did you take me back, Keto, as a young girl growing up in Monterrey? Is that correct? Monterrey,
correct.
Mexico. Did you think at this point in your life you have beautiful children, you'd be in a deep, meaningful relationship with the mayor of a local Canadian city and keeping time by squirrel clock? Like, did you ever envision that future for yourself? Is this what you dreamed about as a young lady?
I mean, it's even better than anything I could have imagined, especially the squirrel bit. I'm like, wow, forget technology. Get yourself a squirrel, man.
Get a family of squirrels. Adopt a squirrel today. It's good for the environment. You reduced your carbon footprint. It's not draining any power, and you're up like clockwork and I mean, you made it here on time. You even responded. You even responded today in our message in Slack, which was just amazing. And we've known what we're going to talk about today for days.
I don't even know what's happening. It's thanks to the squirrel. That's all I can say.
It's the presence of squirrels and the absence of Jonathan Goodman seem to be the magical combination that we've been looking for here on this podcast. It's the sweet spot we didn't know we needed, but we're gonna take it. I'm not gonna argue with it. Thank you, squirrels, and thank you, Mexican authorities for apprehending Jonathan. It's made everything so much better here on the podcast for all of us, and we're gonna drop some knowledge today, man. You guys are in for a treat out there. If you're listening, turn it up.
Yep.
Put the weed down and get ready to learn some things. put your marijuana down and get ready to learn some things about how to apply some of these OTA teachings on a shoestring budget. As I like to say, free 99. And we're going to coax Amber into talking more today too. She talked some already. I can barely hear her, but I know she's talking. I'm reading her lips as she's talking. She kind of says the same thing every episode anyway. She covers her mouth and shakes her head no when I talk, and then she says wrap it up when it gets close to the top of the hour. She's very, very predictable in that way. So seriously though, what we want to talk to you guys about is how can you you don't have access to the Trainerize, or to the PN Pro Coach, or to a fine Canon T7i Rebel EOS Rebel camera. You don't have a podcast mic. How can you do the things that are going to make you a great online coach if you're on sort of a shoestring budget? Well, lucky for you guys, we got a Keto.
Yes.
And I also started this business in the throes of poverty. So we're gonna help you out too. And Amber's resilient and inventive and creative. So you guys are gonna get the goods today. Like, this is probably gonna be our best episode ever. Like seriously. Don't even bother listening to whatever episode happens after this. Just delete your Spotify, get rid of your iTunes, throw your phone in the trash. You'll not want to listen to us past this point because we're about to hit our peak. And it's going to be a slow descent downhill after this episode. I can guarantee you, I promise you that anything you listen to from us after this point, it's going to be a complete waste of your time. It's going to suck the soul out of you. It's going to be a life-ruining experience, similar to Jonathan and his critique of Instagram. Just I think he calls it a pit of despair, a never-ending pit. That's where this podcast is going after this episode. So when Jonathan comes back, don't even bother tuning in. So, Amber, you doing okay? Everything all right? You okay over there? All right, South Carolina, you got your stuff together. Where's Nate? Is Nate good?
Yeah, he's
cool?
with Grandma.
Okay, Nate's with Grandma. He's chilling. Nate turned it out the last episode. So many insights. Reminds me of the time that Alex Cartmill was on the podcast and how riveting he was when he chimed in.
I forgot about that.
I'd like to hear the Nate Alex podcast. Nate and Alex. That'd be a good podcast. Maybe that's a second production. After this one tanks after this episode, Amber, maybe that's where your attention goes as a podcast producer. The Nate and Alex show. Something to consider. I'll gladly take 5% if the idea pans out. However, shoestring budgeting your way through being an online coach. A lot of us have been there, and these are questions that we get all the time, right? Amber, you've read ad nauseum. What program should I use? How can I do this? Are you guys using PayPal or using Square? Or you like all of these things? Well, when I started, I had none of these things. None of them. I also didn't have any OTA coaches. Keto and I were in the first cohort of OTA Level 1, 2016. I didn't know that I didn't meet her when I met everybody else, which is odd. It's shocking. It is shocking that we were in the same place and I didn't meet you.
Yeah.
But I met you before we did the podcast, but that was by accident because you just happened to be in town for Girls Gone Strong something or something. Molly made us meet. Molly's like, Ren's there and you guys better meet. Okay, Mom. But in any case, we started with nothing. There weren't even OTA coaches back then. Nobody had graduated yet.
Exactly. Nobody knew what we were doing.
No,
I mean, not that has changed much. Anyway.
It's the same now. But most of what you guys enjoy in the OTA process, the Online Trainer Academy process, is a result of Carol and I messing everything up when we first graduated. And them saying, how can we keto and Ren-proof this process? And voila, you have what we have today, the modern functioning version of the Online Trainer Academy. But Keto, can you talk to us a little bit? I know you've got notes, which frightens me. Can you talk to us a little bit about sort of what your methods were when you got started? Like some of the things that you did to make it in in coaching in general, but even more particularly in the online space. Like share with the people, Keto, and I'm happy to jump in whenever you want me to.
Yes, sir. So for starters, we see so much overwhelm regarding software and, applications to use and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, the only place ever that I was legitimately careful in first of all, doing my due diligence, and second of all, saying I'm doing this and this is where I put my money, is in my certifications. Right. That is so when I decided to pursue Precision Nutrition Level 1, then Precision Nutrition Level 2, OTA 1, OTA 2, that all comes at a hefty price. But that was the very first certification. I was determined, I'm it's going to be a big expense for me, but it's worth it because it opens up an entirely new playing field for me in which I can charge more money because I'm having additional services. And so that snowballed into me reinvesting into my learning, because my skills for me were essential. And part of that included business skills, which is where OTA obviously came in.
Absolutely.
So that is, Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. Let's pause there, really quickly. We dissect this thing piece by piece. we'll say we're at the chicken wing right now. We haven't made it around to the chicken leg, thigh, or breast. So right here, the chicken wing, because I love wings. Right here, the chicken wing. Your certifications. Did you feel like at the time, if OTA existed when you got your very first certification, you were certified in some capacity before you did OTA? Is that correct?
Correct.
If you had to go back, because I've often thought about this, because I did my normal training cert, then I did PN1 also,
Same.
and then I did something else. I think corrective exercise or something like that. If you went back, would you have done, or did you do OTA right after your first training certification, or it didn't happen like that for you? It didn't for me.
No, it didn't. It was in the same, as you said, like PT cert, like the basic one first,
Yeah.
then my precision nutrition one,
Okay.
and then came OTA, if I remember correctly.
If you had to do it again, would you do OTA second, right after your certification? Do you think it would have been good for you to do it that way, or do you think training, nutrition, then OTA? What are your thoughts about that?
Honestly, like having now like the information, the full scope of the information that I have from the different companies, the different everything that I've done,
Right.
I think I definitely would have gone for OTA right off the bat, because that is the money making one,
Right,
and you
right.
need money.
See, me too. I think about this often myself, and I'm thinking, I could have. I love that. I love the PN1 cert. Let's
Oh, yeah,
just
me
get
too.
that out of the way. That was instrumental in me being a better coach.
Yep.
Didn't necessarily help me get more clients though. Like I was like, yay, I'm PN level 1, and normal people on the internet like, great. What does that mean? What does that
Right.
mean? It means I do nutrition. I thought you already did that. Is that better? What Amber? I'm interested. This is one of the few times I'm going to make this statement. Amber, I'm interested in hearing from you. Don't get used to that. But I am legitimately interested in hearing from you on the subject. What are your thoughts there? If you had to go back and do it again, or is that the way you did it?
Well, no, I'm a certification junkie, like I think most of us are. I have things
Okay.
that I have no business having. Like I have an MMA cert, which I have no idea why. I have it.
Right.
But like what Kara was saying is, you have to plug the hole that's the most important first, and that's your business.
Right.
Your personal training certification is usually sufficient enough to let you get started, fix your business, and then reinvest from there into other areas that can help you grow as a better coach.
Yeah, because when I started, I was doing like monthly programs for I think like $60 a month. I had not been through the OTA, so I was undervaluing myself tremendously, which is a whole nother podcast conversation. But I think if I had done OTA right after my basic cert, I probably would have I would have made more money faster. That's for sure. No
Yeah.
question about that. But I'd had a much better structure. So I was just curious about that question, kiddo. So please take it away. Don't let the man interrupt you again. So you got your certs. Take us into the rest of your story here. It's riveting so far.
So when I was starting to build my online training kind of like platform, this was around, I think, 2015, 2016, probably 2015. Anyway, so again, zero money to invest in anything. So everything became like, how can I do this thing for free? Like
Right.
for no money, right? So of course I couldn't rent an office space where I could leave my children and, whimsically go work somewhere. Like it was never going to happen. Like if I could get somebody to look after my kids, then I would go to a coffee shop, because
Right.
that's essentially, as long as you purchase a drink or whatever. Starbucks, they will let you sit there forever with one drink and nobody gives you crap over anything.
Right.
So that became very much like my office, because I needed to be away from the home for no cost other than one drink. So
Right.
that's a pretty cheap rent, right? When you're renting a table, like a desk, for like $2 for
Right.
unlimited hours. It's like, sure, I'll take it. I'll do that.
It's like 3 cents per square foot, I think, rental price.
Yes, exactly.
That's great. That's great overhead.
Great overhead. And speaking of childcare, for example, some of the strategies that we need to open up, like I didn't have the option of having family. Like Amber, that's so fantastic that your parents are like steps away from your home, right? I didn't, like, my parents are 2 countries away. I have zero
Right.
family here, right? Like, babysitting for them is not an option. So so I started getting crafty. So what happened is, like, my friends who had kids that were in high school, college, or taking a semester off school or whatever. Especially, there was a girl, she had an interest in education, so she loved kids and she was very involved in wanting to play and teach and all this kind of stuff. So she was perfect. And for her, it was just like, oh, this is all, practice for me and it's fun for me. And it was
Right.
extremely cheap, essentially, to get her to come in and help me. So you can always, of course, again, due diligence, because these are your children. You're not just going to drop
Right.
them off with whoever.
Right. Don't leave them with somebody like me. What you don't want to have happen.
Yeah, but you can definitely search, like, in your local Facebook groups for, like, mom helpers. That's
Right.
a term used commonly for kids who are going into the education pathway as a career, and they're interested to start working with young kids.
Wow.
So it's wonderful for them, and it's a great help for you. Now, if you're nervous because this is somebody new to you who's not a friend of the family or whatever, you can stay in your house. You don't even have to leave. You just need to be really, really diligent with yourself, of, like, maybe getting some noise canceling phones. Like, you're there. If there's any emergency, you're literally in the same house. And that's a
Right.
big kind of, like, stress relief for parents, I think. But you can't be, like, halfway trying to pay attention to, are they okay? Like, they're okay. They're right there. It's going to be fine.
Right.
And just do your work, because that's what, like, every minute counts when you have kids that depend entirely on you and you don't have a solid support system. Every minute counts. So take that very seriously.
Right. Absolutely. So let's stop. First of all, that's brilliant. I've never heard of well, obviously, I've never heard the term mom helpers, but I'm not a mom. But I guess I am a mom helper, so I work with moms over 30.
Yes.
In that capacity, I just don't keep the children. So let's talk about from my perspective, and my perspective is usually wrong. But we're going to use it for this podcast because Jonathan's not here to tell me it's wrong. From my perspective, there's like 3 main parts of what we do, right? We got to figure out how to take a payment, right? Because we got to get paid in some way. How do we do that? We got to figure out how to get the exercise routine to the person if we're online coaches. Like, what exercise are they doing and how do we let them know what to do? And we got to communicate with them in some way in terms of accountability and, like, sort of like tracking progress, right? So, and I don't know where your story was going, Keto, so please don't let me interrupt it. I'm just keeping the show going by talking incessantly when there are dead spots and making things up on the spot, which is the joy of what I do here. But, can we talk a little bit about how to do those 3 things? Like, how am I getting payment if I can't afford, like, some top-notch service? How am I getting the exercise routine over to them if I'm not using PT distinction? And, how do I communicate with them for accountability and to figure out how well they're doing if I'm not using something like a Precision Nutrition has Pro Coach and you can, like, so if I'm not using that, like, what's the methodology here? What's your version, or both of you, what's your version of the shoestring methodology here? Like, what do you do?
Spreadsheets. For me, it was spreadsheets. Back then, I don't think I even knew to use, like, Google Forms. It was like Excel.
Same.
And it was all on spreadsheets and just keeping track of communication and client information, in the sense of, this lady, she's the one who's struggling, I don't know, like, her marriage is in trouble, like, whatever tidbits, because everybody
Right.
shares tidbits. So because you need to keep track of each of your clients' history, personal history included, because then it comes up in conversation, or you're able to refer back, like, if they had an ache and pain in a joint, or if they had a previous, they had a family member who was sick, like, you can ask about that. And that was just a way for me to keep track of conversations when I didn't have, like, the pro coach or the PT distinction or anything to keep track of communication.
I love that. And Amber, did you go through the same situation? Like, what was it like for you?
I went a little bit of a different path. I ended up starting with software, but I went with a free trial and built up, client by client. But I did something for a student a long time ago, and I can actually put this in the show notes as well, as Google Sheets is insanely powerful. Like, most people have no idea how much you can do with it. I mean, you can put a whole onboarding, process in there. You can automate stuff from there. Like, there's just so much that it can do. So I'll try to remember to add that into the show notes. And then Facebook groups and utilizing the social learning units, especially if you prefer to work with groups instead of clients one-to-one. That is extremely powerful as well. So I would say whether you work one-to-one, Google Sheets, may make more sense versus if you're doing a group, Facebook groups, and if you turn on social learning units, that's a great way to organize content and to actually be able to track people as well to a certain extent.
Man, that's awesome.
Hey, Jonathan Goodman here. This podcast is made possible thanks to people like you. Here's a quick word from our sponsors. Are you still trying to pick your online training software? If so, let me make this easy for you. Go with PT Distinction. It's truly the best, and I'm not just saying that because they're our sponsor. We actually use PT Distinction for our own online fitness business, online trainer coaching, and we're really happy with it. From onboarding to programming to client communication, PT Distinction has everything you need to run your online fitness business smoothly, and it's super simple to use. Now, normally they offer a free 30-day trial, but as a listener of the Online Trainer Show, you get a free 60-day trial, so you can make sure you love them before spending a dime. If you want to deliver first-class service to your clients while reclaiming your time, then visit onlinetrainer.com/PTD to sign up for your free 60-day trial today. If you're a fitness nutrition coach that's looking to master online coaching so that you can help more people, make more money, and have more freedom, then the Online Trainer Academy can help. OTA gives you the framework, knowledge, and support to have predictable success with your online coaching business. From marketing to business development to how to assess and motivate your clients online, it is constantly updated and refreshed to keep up with a dynamic market. Not only that, OTA is proven. In 7 years, we've helped over 30,000 coaches in 87 countries go online. Truth is, we know what works, so you can get right to the success part. And in case you're busy working a full-time job or you're a full-time parent, know that you can go at your own pace. There's no deadlines to complete OTA and you have lifetime access. That said, if you are ready to make a rapid change and finish the course in the next 8 to 12 weeks, you can expect to invest 3 to 5 hours each week on the program. And here's the best part. If you join today, you will make an extra $1,000 a month in 90 days, or I'll give you your money back. So if you're ready to build the fitness business you want and make the money you deserve, go to onlinetrainer.com/academy to enroll today. And I hope to see you in there.
So for those out there listening to this podcast, if you're keeping a tally, we're still at free 99 right here. Keto talked about Excel spreadsheets. That's what I used too, Keto. I was using Excel. I had no concept of Google anything at the time. And Amber talked about Google Sheets. She talked about something that we overlook often: the beauty of and magic of the 30-day trial period. Right?
Yes, magical.
You can get a lot done with a 30-day trial period. I mean, you could double your client roster in 30 days with something that you could use that's got a free trial. And I gotta say, pretty much everything I've ever used in terms of OTA, they had a 30-day trial. Like it's not something that's uncommon in the software space. So Keto, you got your spreadsheets. Amber's got her Google stuff. She's got her units in Facebook. I have my spreadsheets, my Excel sheets. So we know how we're going to track things with the client. That's our shoestring budget tracker. Mm-hmm. Can we talk about how we're communicating with the client? Like, what are we doing to get in touch with them? To deliver. Let's talk about delivering the exercises, because at that time we don't have a PT distinction or anything like that. Mm-hmm. How are we getting across to the client? Here's your workout, and here's how to do it. Like, what was your method there?
My method was plain old email. Like, it would be the Excel sheet with the kind of like the actual program if they wanted to print it out. Mm-hmm. And in the body of the email, seriously, like as plain as it could be, I would add YouTube links to the exercise examples. I didn't even record those myself. I just borrowed from what so many other trainers have already put up for free in YouTube. I would find one that was with proper form that demonstrated exactly what I was trying to say, and and here is an example. And so email is always on your phone. They were, even though it wasn't a fancy app or anything, they were still able to click on the hyperlink and see the example when they were at the gym. Totally worked.
Right. Oh my God. So you actually use videos that you didn't shoot yourself with your
course.
$1,000 DSLR camera?
Of course.
How, Dios mío, Keto, how did you ever build a business that way? Because according to what I read in our groups, that's impossible. You can't possibly send clients videos if it's not you. They won't receive the information. They're going to fail because they don't see your face in the newest Gymshark attire, with your overdubbed, with your dub over with the special effects where you ride in on a magic carpet and deliver info. So that actually worked. Are you serious?
That actually worked. Here's a funny bit. I actually remember one of my clients, like in one of the videos, she was like, "Oh, and by the way, the guy demonstrating those plants, he was really hot." And I'm like, all right, I'll see you. Okay, I'll choose his stuff more often. That's all right.
I gotta tell you, I had the same exact experience. Because I would purposely find the most muscle-bound guys I could because I'm working with moms. I was like, if they gotta watch these stupid YouTube videos, why not give them a little treat, right? And I would randomly get comments.
Spicy.
Yeah, they thought I knew these people. I swear to God, like, who was that guy in the overhead press video? Ma'am, I don't know these people personally. The guy on YouTube, but I'm sure he's on social media if you want to track him down and stalk him properly. So Amber, were you already at a software point as you were delivering your exercise routines, or did you have a shoestring method for that also?
So I used a lot of YouTube videos as well, because often in a lot of the software, the form videos don't always agree with for various reasons. And so I would pull videos that I felt were appropriate, but I did the same thing. Is like the moms always appreciated, good eye candy. And so I did the same thing you did, Ren, like, hey, if we have to do this, we might as well have a little bit of fun.
As well.
You're welcome.
You know what else though? I would purposely, I quite enjoyed it, but I would purposely not ever use sort of like the hot girl trainer when I send it to my clients, and that's just a subtle nuance of understanding your community, right? Because they could very much find offense in that. Now I personally had a good time looking for the videos because everyone, half of the time I was running across, and I won't get too deep into that, but I digress. But you guys, I did the same thing. I use YouTube videos. Now, I was fancy because I did a YouTube playlist. Because I was a boss. So I had one link, because on YouTube at the time, and I think you still can, you could do a playlist. Like you do a playlist for, audio. And when they clicked on the one link, it would go from one exercise to the next. So they can see it. But either methodology is okay. So for those out there that are listening, particularly our OTA students who are involved in procrastination via perfection, right? Mm-hmm. You absolutely do not have to shoot your own professional, high label videos, high quality videos. Mm-hmm. We can all tell you that your clients really don't care. As long as they know what they're doing and you're giving great coaching in between, and they're getting results, man, they do not care that it's 28 different YouTube videos with 28 different people. Nobody really cares. That's in your head.
I would go so far as to forbid it unless you reach like a certain point where, because there's no return on investment on that. Like from a financial point of view, the amount of time and money you spend doing that, you're not going to get a return 100%. On investment. So make that a reward for yourself if you want to do it. So like once you hit 30 clients, and then if you want to do it, power to you. I will unforbid you at that point. But unless you hit something like that, I forbid you.
Love that. It's like, no, you're not allowed. You want to make you're not allowed. You got 30 clients. You don't got 30 clients. You're not allowed. Love it.
Amber's the only person I know that has the power of unforbiddness. She says she will unforbid you once you reach a certain level. You get the do you send like an email, Amber? Is there a GIF? I need an unforbid GIF. Like shaking your finger and then going to open hands and a yes. Unforbid you to do that. That's a great point. You guys, I was online training from 2014 until now. In 2019, I started shooting 5 videos per Sunday to start to integrate into my coaching. And that, so 90% of my career up to that point, I could care less where the video came from. Your clients literally doing. There are so many more things that are way more important to your client than who's in the video. They could care less. So we're tracking down. We're making good time here too. We are literally solving your problems in 50 minutes or less a day. So we know how we're sort of tracking our client. You've got several options for that. We all sort of uniformly used YouTube, before we had the power of platforms like PT Distinction. And now let's talk about how we're sort of communicating from week to week. Are we in contact with our clients when we're on that shoestring budget? And if so, how are we communicating with our clients on that shoestring budget? Carol, do you want to start here again?
Yes, for me, always to this day, the main mean of communication is Facebook. If you need to reach me, Facebook message, because I'm bound to see it. I'm already there. It's easy for me to hop on either on my phone or my laptop. That just is way better. I'm like, a text is more likely to get lost for me because I don't often, if the notification is gone and I didn't respond in the moment, I'll forget to go later and I just don't register it. So I'm always like, Facebook message, please. And they do, because it's practical for everyone and it's free.
Yeah. Did you do any phone calls at that point? Did you have anything like that you did with your clients?
At that point, no, I wasn't yet there. I didn't feel like I needed it, and it wasn't something that they were necessarily requesting, so I just wasn't doing it.
Gotcha. So Keto's always on Facebook because, quite frankly, there's always a bikini beach pic to upload. So she's on there
always.
constantly. Yeah, she lives on Facebook. She has, when she goes to sleep at night, she has a Facebook IV that she runs intravenously. So that her mind can post to Facebook while she's asleep, which is very clever. Well, that's another episode too. Amber, what about you? Like, how are you communicating with your clients on that shoestring budget?
It depends on what information we're getting across. If it's like a lesson, it would have been, probably email, something that was more long form. I needed the space and to be able to make it more readable and enjoyable to consume the information. General communication, Facebook Messenger, and then phone calls.
That makes sense. Side note, when I get emails from you, my anxiety goes up because I feel like it's something that I didn't do or something that I missed or I'm going to get yelled at. So minimize all contact with me via email.
I'll start using carrier pigeons.
So just drive to Charlotte and knock on the door. It'll be less intimidating for me. What I did was pretty much the same thing. Now, I'm embarrassed to say, and we all start somewhere, guys, I was having 30 to 45-minute conversations with every single client I had every single week. I was a helicopter parent as an early online coach. I didn't know better. I did it for 2 years before there was an OTA. But I was definitely helicopter parenting. I was hovering around my clients. But it was a simple phone call for me. And all of my communication really went through text messaging at the time. I don't like email, so I was texting back and forth with my clients. It was also too much contact, right? Because I didn't have those good boundaries like Amber talks about, from time to time. But the bottom line is we got it done. So now you guys have a shoestring indication of what you can do in terms of getting your workout across. You know how to communicate with the client. You know how to track them. You got options there. What about taking payment? Because we see this a lot of times. Like, this comes up in the Online Trainers Unite, in the OTA student. What do you guys use? Anybody use Moonclerk? Does anybody use this? Do you do it's always coming up. So when you were on that shoestring budget, Carol, like, how were you gathering payment? Like, how did you make that happen?
It was always PayPal. And I am not ashamed to say, to this day, that is what I use because it's easy, it's practical, it's familiar. People aren't afraid of going into it because it's what everybody knows. And historically, everybody has used it. So it's a non-threatening way. It's one less barrier of entry. If I were to use something new that my client is not familiar with, that might be a reason for them to be like, oh, wait, I don't know, hold on. Like, I don't want anything in between us. So PayPal for me, I'm fine with it. It works.
I never knew how much alike we were, Keto, and that also raises my anxiety level.
It's terrifying.
Amber, what was your sort of shoestring methodology for capturing pain?
PayPal. That's the most straightforward.
Same. This is frighteningly informative for the people out there. Same for me. I use PayPal. I was like, hey, I'm just, in 2014, everybody's an online coach now for obvious reasons. Pandemic, I get it. But even probably around 2019-ish, there was a lot of, online coaching. There were so many experts to teach how to go online. In 2014, I Googled for a long time to try to figure out how to coach people online. Like I wasn't familiar with John yet, even though they were doing 1K extra and stuff like that. Like that was foreign to me. I didn't know any way to do it. There was no methodology. You couldn't find information as easy. Like you type in how to coach online now, and you're going to be inundated. Like the Google's, there's going to be like 3,000 O's between the G and the L and the E on Google if you do it now. But back then, not many people were doing it to the extent that I understood. So same for me, PayPal. I was like, people don't know me, and if I ask for some payment, and I don't get all racial on the podcast, I want to go all Jesse Jackson on you guys. But I mean, the reality is, this is a black guy somewhere in North Carolina that I've never met, who says that he can coach me and I should send him money. For me, it was a no-brainer. It better be something like PayPal. People know what it is, Like, if they didn't trust me, I felt like they would trust that.
Right.
Because it's
there's
guaranteed.
a protection.
Yeah, it's secured, it's guaranteed. And one of the other things that I found about PayPal over time is I've done so much business with them that they extended me a line of credit where I probably could not get a business credit line. They extended me personal credit. They gave me the ability to get a loan that didn't depend on credit if I wanted it. Like I've got all these options business wise through PayPal because all my money the entire time I've been a coach has gone through them. I didn't know that at the time, but it's a great little add on. So if I have a challenging time, because of pandemic, which I haven't because of the OTA level 1 and level 2. Pandemic proved my business, Jonathan Goodman, the Online Trainer Academy. But if I did have a difficult time, I've got some resources because of the relationship that I've developed with them over time. So let's just track back because this has been a bang up episode. I told you guys this was going to be the best one, and we delivered. So now you guys have an idea of how to render payment if you're on a shoestring budget. Free 99. PayPal takes their money from you getting money, so you have to get some money for it to cost you any money. You've learned how to communicate with your clients and track them for free. You've learned how to send their workouts for free. And you've learned how to structure your overall online business using Online Trainer Academy methodology without needing a dime to produce any of it. We've taken away all your excuses out there. You have no excuse at this point.
No excuse. I'm not done yet, though.
Oh,
I'm not done.
Please continue.
I got more here.
Take us home. So, we got 3.5 minutes. Bring it on in.
So really fast, when people ask, like, where am I going to get my clients and all this kind of stuff, I'm going to go all ran here on the analogies, and I'm going to say, like, your Instagram and your Facebook, that is your stage. And you can ask any band, any singer, any performer in the history of the world, when they started, they would play entire shows for no one, for
Nobody.
0 people. There was nobody in the audience. They would show up, but they would show up and hone their craft and still play the show for no one because they understood that it was important to still show up and go through the work. Absolutely. So you do that, even if it feels like nobody's listening, nobody's reacting to anything you put out. You show up and you play your gig. You play 100%. Your gig every single day, and so build that stage for yourself. And also free, completely free. And now I also want to share with you guys Canva. If you have not learned how to use Canva, don't pay for it. There's a paid version. You don't need it. Don't pay. It's free and it's beautiful and it's absolutely amazing. If you go on TikTok, and for those, don't go all boomer on me like, TikTok is for kids. TikTok is for learning. TikTok can show you so many things. There's a wealth of information. If you go and search the hashtag Canva, tons of people giving you like secret amazing things that you can do with a free Canva that you don't even know about. It's wonderful because all your promotions, your graphics, your pictures, everything beautiful. So that
Absolutely.
And I have another app that I used before. It's also free. It's called Magisto, Magisto. Again, free version, and it's for video editing. It has effects. It has all this kind of stuff. You can add music, soundtracks. It's beautiful. Play around with that. And finally, I even have an app for those who don't feel like they are experienced enough in cooking, in coaching their clients how to, make a meal or whatever. There's an app called Supercook. It's one word together, Supercook. And you enter whatever ingredients you have right now in your fridge, and it throws you every single recipe you could imagine of amazing things that you can do with those things that you have at home.
Oh my
so
God.
That alone, for creating content, it's like, hey guys, if your audience is like you, and if they're also on a shoestring budget, or if they're also lacking in imagination for meals, then that's where you go. Hey guys, I'm gonna teach you how to do, this is all that I have in my pantry right now, but let's build a meal. And then thanks to this app, you figure out what to make and you show them how, and pass on that valuable knowledge, and it's free.
Amazing. Gosh, what you, Keto, like your 2021 is just otherworldly. Like, I know we keep referring to that here, but I'm just blown away. What I thought was just apathy in 2020, like, and just a spirit of not giving a shit about what was going on here. I realize now you are powering up, and I don't know if you only perform like this in odd numbered years, but you were taking 2020 to allow your powers to grow so that you can unleash them in 2021, and it's just been amazing to watch. Keto dropped the bombs here today. When I was a young man, there was a group called the Gap Band. Some people may be familiar with Snoop Dogg and Uncle Charlie Wilson. He was the lead singer of the Gap Band, and they had a song, "You Dropped the Bomb on Me," and it went, "You dropped the bomb on me, baby. You dropped the bomb on me." And Keto has dropped the bombs on all of us today, but in a good way. Passive aggressive Canadian and loosely rigid Mexican bombs, this hybrid bomb, Canadian Mexican bomb of information. And you guys know how to go out and do it now for free 99. Like, Amber, is there anything you'd like to add to this? Or no, you're good. All right. Yeah. All right, good job, Amber. You've produced an excellent podcast today. So Amber's got some things in the show notes. I saw her writing down the apps that Keto was mentioning. Somebody yesterday, one of the coaches said, "What's that word that you're saying? You're saying Keto?" I was like, "No, it's Keto. That's Carolina's name. It's shortened with proper pronunciation." He's like, "Oh, because I was wondering why you said Keto every. No, it's just Keto, Carolina."
That would be me. One of the women. One of the girls.
That's why he was confused, Keto. He was like, what are those other two humans, the women? I was like, yeah, she's one of the women. But in any case, drop bombs here today. You guys have been given the key to the city, the gateway to the fountain, the secret to the temple where the lost ark is. Go forth and use it. We've enjoyed bringing this podcast episode much more so than any other episodes that we've done because Jonathan's not here, and it's been so much more enjoyable for us. He knows that.
It's true.
and I just love that we ended with some TikTok tips. So take that, Jonathan Goodman. If you can hear us from your prison cell. We'll see you guys next time. What do you got there? Show notes? Is that what I need to do? Is that what you're saying? It's time for show notes. If you want to see the show notes here, it's onlinetrainer.com/podcast. Stop by, read the show notes. Please review us on iTunes and wherever you listen to podcasts. And I guess it's time for the jingle. Jingle, jingle.
This is the Online Trainer Show. Trainer Show. Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show.
We shouldn't have a podcast